Any second?
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. We got 4 of us on the screen. Hello, everybody. Good morning on a Monday. Happens to be, what is today? The 14th of November. Weekly Monday morning blog podcast for the SBAU Astronomy Society. We call it Santa Barbara Astronomical Unit. Telescope and Astrophysics are us. It's a club out of Santa Barbara, California. Now underway. It is the 90th or 91st. I think I may have gotten lost and lost a week. We'll have to look. My crystal ball. It's around 90 episodes we've done of the Astro Hour, which is watchable, although 20 seconds delayed on YouTube, November 14th through the 20th, 2022. We are based out of that beautiful Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History up in Mission Canyon, which is by all measures open. And we may be going back ourselves to a live first Friday of the month. That would be Friday, December 2nd. You're all invited. Please come join us at 7 o'clock, 6:30. Get this 6:30, I guess, right? We're gonna. We didn't talk about that, Mr. President, but we're probably going to have a planetarium show. You think that night to kick off for half an hour?
Yeah, planetarium show at 7 probably, and then meeting at 7:30.
Boy, that's one we missed by going online. Can't have that planetarium show. But let me introduce you to the gang on tap. We don't have Bruce Murdoch today. However, Tim Crawford, another telescope expert, is watching us, and President Jerry Wilson in his 5th year at the helm. His wife, Pat Forgay, in the background, and Jerry will be running again since nobody's running against him. I don't think he can be beaten. I hope I can say the same thing for myself. I'm VP, but I get to work, and this is really coming down to the wire, this December party, because we're going to conduct quick elections with a show of hands, and maybe even online, a show of hands, if we can work that out some way through our what's it called, webinar. Chuck McPartland, Outreach Coordinator.
Good morning.
Outreaching on Saturday night for our star party, where how many attended?
409.
Wow. A lot of them were astronomy students from City College on assignment for extra credit, weren't they?
No, there were some, but not that many.
Well, how many Friday
there were some Girl Scouts.
How many Friday night did we get?
Friday was 169 at Westmont.
Nice. That's
At
nice.
Westmont. Well, speaking of Westmont, we have Tom Whittemore, our newsletter editor online, now baking bread for not a living, but a great hobby. And his wife is Maureen. Chuck's wife is Pat, merchandise manager. Had some interesting things determined, voted on, and passed on Saturday night, sitting around Palmer Observatory up at the museum. Today, we're going to talk about, what have I written about here? Is this ancient history? Some Hipparchus papers have been found. We missed that last week, and we love the history. An update on our latest comet. Going to check out Charles Messier's second catalog object, M2, and a pair of overlapping galaxies with one NGC name, and from the Orionids to the Leonids, meteor showers galore. Just a quick question. If we had meteor showers coming out of Ophiuchus, would they be called Ophioids? No. Gentlemen, some levity, because that fair-haired, white-haired president of ours sends us these forwarded science cartoons, and I don't know how he gets them or where he gets them from. However, here we go. You just sent us this morning. You just don't see stars like this in the city, and he brings on a huge star. That's craziness. Okay. Camping. All right. The sing of the old Queen song as dinosaurs. This is right before it happened. We are the champions, just no time for losers. Whoosh. Years later, here are the rodents and the mammals singing the same thing, because we are the champions of the world. I guess that's pretty established fact. 65 million years ago, man running desperately into the lighthouse with a box of light bulbs. Here comes the ship right at him.
Definitely Gary Larson.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Far Side?
This is one of the oldest Gary Larson things I remember. One of the first ones that he did that I remember.
I've never seen this one. I've never seen this one, Jerry. That's neat.
It's amazing. You don't really see the light part of the lighthouse, but you know it's a lighthouse. So here
Yeah.
comes the vote. All right, what did I have here? Man talking to woman. Watch you a star, honey, babe. Ha ha ha. And she, LOL. You named it Jessica's THICC booty. Is that supposed to be pronounced thick?
Yeah.
And then we're going out to the planet far away. Citizens of Gorp X46, our planet will henceforth be known as Jessica's thick booty. Yay! There's the outdoor.
So the scam really wasn't a scam.
We'll never know, will we? What is this? Dave 12 without chocolate, lost hearing in my left eye. That's right. We have some. Okay, here they are sitting on. I won't even go to my own notes. A man and a woman watching shooting stars, meteors. Shooting star, honey? No, it's probably a billionaire's midlife crisis. 20 million for a ride for a few days. And oh boy, you got them all today. Guy and his dog sitting on the roof looking up. Look, Coco, a meteorite. I'll make a wish perhaps for world peace and maybe an end of hunger. No, a cure for all known diseases. Whoosh, crash right into the driveway. And the dog goes, you might want to wish for a new car, master. Get a new Tesla. Oh, here's that one again. Okay. Funny stuff. You think you'll ever run out? Is there a bottomless supply?
I don't know.
Well, things are happening. Let me touch base with our outreach guy. Anything we should note now that Westmont's behind us, the meeting's behind us?
Well, Westmont isn't really behind us. That was the Westmont special event for new students, but coming up on Friday is the normal third Friday Westmont.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's what he was talking about. Is somebody joining us?
That's Bruce.
Bruce is finally coming on board.
Checking in.
And Tom Whittemore is going to the bathroom.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Hello, Bruce. Does not hear us yet, but we'll introduce Bruce and his wife, Bonnie.
Hello.
We're going to cover a topic that we missed last week because it was very, very extensive and we got lost on other things. Well, we'll let him join us. Hipparchus, I just barely heard about him. I love the history, as you do too, with Jerry, and I don't know where you found this, but he was an early astronomer. What century? There he is. That's his condo, I think, that he bought back in the.
This is St. Catherine's Monastery in Egypt.
A monastery. So monks lived there.
Yeah.
And did Hipparchus, was he a monk?
No.
No.
But a lot of the monks in medieval times, monasteries were the repositories of libraries of ancient scripts.
Okay.
So a lot of bad things happened to ancient manuscripts. Aside from the burning of the library at Alexandria, which I think is, according to historians, is overrated. But people did, in Europe, people were largely illiterate, and so they treated books as firewood because they burned real well. And they would take books out of libraries and use them for heat. In this case, I guess the parchment was very valuable, so they would scrape the writing off of pages to then reuse the paper for other things. And that's what happened in this case. So.
And it wasn't paper, it was
Parchment.
parchment, yeah, which is more scrapable.
Is that what we're looking at?
Sheepskin, isn't it?
What you're looking at is white light as text, as it would look if you opened the book or looked at the scrap of the book nowadays.
Can you name the language?
No, I can't.
It's probably Coptic.
Okay. And we have other pictures too, don't we? Besides, or is this the same one? Oh, this is another one.
This is the same thing, but looked at in.
Multispectral.
What's that?
Multispectral.
Multispectral. Okay. And then taking the text that is seen behind the text, because apparently this book was scraped several times. They can translate it into Greek. And this is what they see behind all of the scrapings. This is the residual in the book. And go ahead, Tom. Do you want to make any comment?
The Greek is the yellow.
The Greek is the yellow, handwritten over it, yeah.
And so the language behind it in black wasn't there. We had, which was the original and which came over. The Greek is what we can see now without.
No, the Greek is the original, Ron, and it's underneath what's written on there now.
Oh,
This is the original, what you look at it in white light. And after you analyze it in multispectral, you can piece together this text. And the text is a lot of star names and positions, and very clearly written and very precisely done. So they could date when this happened. First of all, the parchment is a biomaterial, so that can be dated to a certain accuracy. But looking at the positions of the stars that are referenced in there, they can calculate exactly when the stars had this position as the epochs slowly move. So they dated it to the same time that Hipparchus was doing his observation.
And this copy was actually a copy transcribed hundreds of years later onto this parchment, but the measurements let you date the original data back to when Hipparchus was active.
Right.
but this is all pre-telescope, isn't it?
Oh,
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
pre-Christ.
Okay, so it's just his observations by naked eye, right? Of the sky.
Well, yes and no, but he used various geometrical instruments like a quadrant to measure the position in the sky, altitude and azimuth. And that's how he recorded it.
Huh.
They used those type of things up until the latest one that was highly accurate and sought after was Tycho Brahe, his catalogs, and it was the study of Tycho's catalogs that led Kepler to develop his 3 laws of planetary motion.
Have you got room for a bad astronomy joke?
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, Tycho did most of his accurate measurements at Uraniaborg, which was, he was gifted an island off Denmark by the king of Denmark, because that's who he was working for. And the island was called Havane. And that's where he built his Uraniaborg and did all these measurements and got all this data. And then he had a little spat with the king of Denmark, and he ended up moving to Czechoslovakia and working for the king there. And that's where Kepler was. And Kepler was very interested in getting hold of his positional data because he was interested in figuring out, a better system for the orbits of the planets. He had all kinds of theories about harmonics and things like that. And he kept trying to get Tycho's data, and he couldn't. Tycho was holding tight onto it. And then Tycho died, and Kepler was able to get his data and figure out the laws of planetary motion. So indeed, Tycho didn't die in Havane.
Right. LOL time. It was bad, but good enough to laugh at. Hey,
Were they smart enough back then to convert azimuth and elevation into latitude? I mean,
Right ascension and declination.
Yeah.
right.
I think they often used ecliptic coordinates. So they would reference their angles to the ecliptic instead of to the Earth's equator.
Okay.
So that is an angular report of RA and declination then.
Right, but RA and declination don't move as the Earth turns.
Yeah.
well, this was how many?
RA and Dec are reference to the Earth's equator, but they were using ecliptic coordinates.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many centuries before Messier was this?
Well, this is
Man.
129 BC or something like that. So
Oh,
Messier is 1700s.
So,
Yeah.
so Hipparchus didn't do his own cataloging. Did he name those stars?
No, he was
No.
writing down a catalog of the names people were using for stars and the constellation stories. And he was the first to actually, instead of just saying, oh, there's a constellation up here called, Cassiopeia, he actually gave the positions of the stars and their angular extent on the sky and things like that. So it was sort of the first bit of positional astronomy.
Right. And also, Chuck, remember, he was the first one to give us a rough idea of the magnitudes, right?
Yeah.
He had 1 through 6, for his magnitudes.
Brightness. And did any of the names survive from him?
Absolutely.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
Most of them, your Vegas, and what are the other ones? There's Aldebarans. They came from him, you think?
Well, Aldebaran is an Arabic name that came later, but
Yeah.
more the Greek names.
Right. Because he was Greek, Ron.
Okay, and that's what we're reading there behind the yellow.
Mhm.
In the yellow, yeah.
Yeah, and I just
Well,
looked up.
yellow is overwritten in something, I don't know, like Photoshop or whatever. It wasn't written on the document.
Yeah. Well, it was written, but this is what they've extracted from that the shading behind the writing, the black writing.
Right, and the yellow colored text on there is added photographically afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't write on the original text.
Right.
Right.
That's verboten.
But Jerry, this is like finding an astronomical version of the Dead Sea Scrolls in a way. Where
Yeah.
are they? Where are they now?
I don't know. Maybe
It-
they're still at St. Catherine's. Oh, no, they
No.
passed around to some universities.
no, it isn't. It belongs to that wacko guy from Hobby Lobby.
That's
that
right.
started
That's-
this Bible museum and has been stealing all
Oh.
kinds of antiquities from the Middle East.
Yes, right.
Well, I'd love to see a translation of what's written. They could, if they do it.
Well, there is a Hipparchus catalog.
Oh, there
It's
is.
a list of stars and star numbers and positions.
And they haven't changed much at all, have they, since how many millennia ago? Over two millennia past? 2,000 years is nothing.
No, the coordinates drift with time.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to specify the epoch you're in. My star catalogs are epoch 1950, and
Right.
a couple of them I've looked at. I've upgraded to 2020 it is, or 2010, I forget.
Mhm.
But they're slightly different. They just drift along.
Yeah,
And back-
the
back-
telescope at Westmont refreshes that. Refreshes the epic too, Jerry.
In Hipparchus's time, would the Orion belt have been the exact same?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah, in that time you wouldn't see a lot of star motion relative to each other. You'd see Bernard's star in a very different position.
Yeah, so Ron, just to give you a feeling, he lived 200 years roughly before Christ, okay? And every 26,000 years, the Earth, completes a wobble, okay? So for our eyes sitting out in the backyard, we probably wouldn't notice much of a change, even though it was 2,000 years. But boy, any precision instrument, like Jerry's telescope and stuff, you have to really refresh that epic. They call it an epic.
Yeah, Polaris wouldn't have been as close to the pole as it is now.
That's right. That's right. Mhm.
Doesn't science think that the so-called Bethlehem star in the year zero might have been a supernova or something?
Yes.
No,
No, yeah. If
No.
you look back, there weren't any in that time period.
Is that
They
right?
were more into astrology back then, and
Yeah.
the closest thing of anything, and it's not even that close, is a conjunction of, I think, Venus and Jupiter in the
Yeah.
constellation Leo
Mhm.
that formed a
Really?
really bright object.
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, there's a really interesting book written by the astronomy professor at Rutgers University, whose name escapes me. And he collected coins as a hobby, and he noticed that some stars were shown on the back of some coins, and he started looking into astronomical events around that time, and he realized that the major, for people in that world, the heavens were actually looking into where the gods lived, and they regarded astrology as the governing theories and governing knowledge. And then these three wise men showed up, and what Herod went out and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" And he said, "Oh, we're following the star." And Herod goes, "What star?" Well, anyone could look up and see if there's a star in the sky. But the point is that Herod and the Romans banned astrology because they didn't want any portents or omens of overthrow of kingdoms. And so the three wise men shared their astrology charts with people here. And the conjunction was of a major emperor being born, I think, in April, in about 4 years off. I think it was 480 or something. And he pins that down as the most likely actual birth of Christ. And the Christmas star as being actually a conjunction, as Chuck refers to on the star chart. It's a very credible hypothesis.
Wow. Amazing stuff.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay. You want to talk globular cluster M2? Is that
Now let's talk about the comet.
There you go. I'm
3.
sorry.
Down in Corona Borealis, you can see it's going to do a tight UE in November, going from November 1. Whereas we're at 14, so we're actually right where this white line intersects the loop. It's about as south as it's going to get. And then it's going to go up to the curve going up again. And this is
All right, much better star chart.
a better star chart. This is the west. And this is, I think this is very early in the evening. Yeah,
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah,
6 p.m. on, and I picked the day of Thursday this week.
yeah, because
So
Coniferous, don't forget, is up in Hercules.
So I was thinking of trying to shoot this tonight, but I don't have anywhere near this low of a western horizon. So I'm going to have to wait till it gets higher up or someone else takes a picture of it.
Well, the clearest chart, clear skies chart says it's going to be poor seeing tonight anyway.
Oh,
Well, seeing
Well-
doesn't affect things like comets as much.
yeah. Poor is pretty good for me here.
Well, it's mainly how light the sky is, and since we're,
Yeah.
moon is just passed, it's still pretty milk colored.
Yeah, I think we're about halfway between full moon and last
Yeah.
quarter.
Yeah, it was
Right.
almost third quarter this
Yeah,
morning.
the evening is dark, and especially this direction for me is just pitch black, because this is the
Mhm.
direction of Vandenberg Air Force Base from my place.
Mhm.
You probably don't have a whole lot of streetlights around either.
None.
That's too bad.
But I noticed, just read in Newsok that the county is meeting to redefine zoning in areas around Santa Barbara County to permit large scale housing. We have a lot of empty lots near us that we're worried about.
Mhm.
So
Well, write them off.
I may move to New Mexico. Anyway,
That curve in the sky you just showed us, is that as close to the sun as C3 or E3 going to get?
this is E3.
I know that, but is that as close? Is that it? Is it heading back out?
Now this does not reflect how close it is to the sun, just where it is in the sky.
Right.
So
Oh.
it's going down like this. It is getting closer to the sun with this path. And it's what is it, about 10th magnitude now.
I
And
see.
the speculation has started that next year it may be a dazzlingly bright comet.
Nice.
And the probability of that occurring is, in my view, is probably about 5%. So
Yeah.
comets disappoint.
I guess
Okay.
So you would look west for this after the sun goes down.
Yeah, this is west here
Mhm.
and west northwest.
right.
Yeah.
Vandenberg, you said.
Yep.
That's
Jerry,
where
we
it
might
is.
have some chat comments.
Uh-oh.
I think Jim Williams is on also.
Okay.
Share it with us. Can you read them?
I can't find them. I think my
Okay.
We want input.
Tim texted one of Jim's comments to me just about Coptic being a descendant of ancient Egyptian.
Mhm.
And it was part of the Rosetta Stone in deciphering the Egyptian hieroglyphics.
uh-huh.
So it's not Hebrew or Arabic.
No.
Interesting.
Where would I find comments?
Apparently there's a YouTube chat that they can type in on. I know Tom used to monitor it, Tom Totten.
You'll need another side laptop with the bottom of the screen. And you'll see yourself as you were 20 seconds ago, but just turn the sound off and read the comments, I guess.
I just went on YouTube. I don't see it. Stop recording. Recording.
Well, now,
Information.
Unlike the last comet, which was called Pan-STARRS, this is Comet C/2022, which I imagine they would tag onto any comet they found this year, right? The only thing that makes it different, delineates it as E3. But
E3 is the time of the year it was found.
Okay, and that makes it different from any new comets or ones found earlier.
Correct.
And ZTF inside parentheses, what does that mean? Z.
That's Zwicky Transient Factory, and that's the telescope that found it.
Oh, okay.
The same way that Pan-STARRS is the telescope that found Pan-STARRS.
Well, we keep running out of names. We had names for all the past comets I used to think.
Well, most of those moons of Saturn are all named. I was surprised to see.
Well, they have names like S12, S200.
Some of them are actually getting, intelligent word names.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are still numbers.
You suppose you suppose they've tapped all the Shakespeare characters? Aren't there endless plays that we could?
Well,
name?
that's for Uranus.
Mhm.
I know, but how many plays did he write and how many characters? Do the math. There's a lot of names. He didn't repeat any names. Is there a Romeo or a Juliet out there? I guess it'd have to
Not
be,
that I know.
have to be a binary
Yeah.
about to collide. Well, you want to go to M2 until we decipher Jim Williams' question, or maybe he knows your number, Chuck. He can
Someone send you something.
Yeah, Tim texted to me his comment from the chat window, which was about Coptic.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is 8 p.m. November 17.
3 days.
Yeah, this is to the southwest. You can see Pluto just about to set down here. And then up here, or in this bullseye, is the globular cluster, a dramatic globular cluster, M2, up in Aquarius.
The water bearer.
Yeah.
Aquarius.
It's Aquarius, yep.
That's the constellation, right? And it's Messier Object 2.
Yep.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Rich in stars, compact, 4.5 degrees due north of magnitude 3, Saddle Steward with 2 U's at the end.
And Saddle is Arabic for luck, right?
Luck,
So there's
right,
Saddle
that's-
Suud and Saddle Melek and
Right.
Wow, it's all
Yeah. Saddle Sud.
and above it is Saddle Melek.
Yes, and I think this one's the luckiest of the lucky or something like that, Chuck.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay, it's also known as Beta Aquarii.
Mhm.
It's 55 degrees above the horizon in the southern sky about 2 hours after sunset. Faint cloudy glow, magnitude 6.5.
now up here is Neptune. In this region is the comet Encke, which we'll hear more about.
Mhm.
Here we have other M's, M30, M72, M73, and Saturn down here in Capricornus.
Yeah, and that beautiful double star, Jerry, Dana Baljetti. I was
Oh, yeah,
showing.
Dana Baljetti, yes.
There it is. Yeah, it's 2 golden stars.
Huh.
Now, they don't complete this last line that other catalogs do, which makes Capricornus look like it's the, what you call it, a bikini bottom.
The great bikini bottom in the sky.
Yeah.
Or a slice of watermelon.
Yeah,
That's
slice of
how we
watermelon.
sell it.
Supposed to be a goat, looks like a boat.
Okay, here's M2. Lots of red giants in it.
Mhm.
Lots of hot blue stars. The way they're clustered, it looks like they are part of the clusters, not just transient things in front. And it looks like the core is actually in this telescope view. Looks like the core is actually resolved or close to being resolved.
Yeah, that's got to be a Hubble.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful photograph.
So that could have been a captured mini galaxy or part of another galaxy that crashed into the Milky Way, or did it just start here with a lot of dust?
that jury is still out.
Jury's still in it. But does anybody know what Messier's number 1 was? If this is
Yes.
M2?
Yeah,
Crab
Crab,
Nebula.
Crab Nebula and Taurus the Bull.
Okay, so this was as easy to see as that?
No,
No,
this
no,
is
no.
much easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Are these the
Well, that's
overlapping?
funny too. I've never been able to get a good picture of the crab.
This
Here's the
Yeah,
overlapping
just keep trying
galaxies.
it.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah,
NGC 3314, A and B.
yeah.
Okay.
Now, this is 2 objects that are not interacting. They are not in collision. One of them, this one, happens to be lined up in front of this one. And because of that, you have a backlit source of light. And so you can see the dark star forming regions, the dark dust clouds illuminated from behind, those dark veins and stuff. So it gives you a good view of what's going on in that galaxy.
Wow. Who would have thought a galaxy in the foreground can be transparent?
Well, background is lit enough. But this
Piece is mostly
apparently,
empty.
because it has one NGC number, apparently in the past, someone thought this was one object.
So they're far
It
apart.
was-
Do they
Maybe it
know,
was Herschel.
do they know
Probably
how
Herschel.
far apart they are?
I believe it's in the write-up I wrote.
Well, your note said between 117 and 140. So just subtract
Yeah,
those two
like
numbers.
A million light years.
Gotcha.
That's a lot.
It'd be 23 million light years apart.
Yeah.
That's about as far as us in Andromeda, isn't it? Or is
No,
it
no.
20?
No, Andromeda is about 2.5 million light years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I thought it was 25. Yeah, I got my decimal point wrong. So
This would be a beautiful object to capture for an amateur, but I think this is probably beyond that. This is one captured by Bozeman, a guy that takes Hubble pictures using Fitz Liberator and then processes them on his computer.
huh. Boy, I can't wait for the web version. That should really show us some stuff. What
Yeah.
Pluto?
This is the moon on,
This morning.
Oh, this is the moon. That
Yeah, that's kind of what I saw this morning, Jerry, about 6.
okay,
I saw it about 10. It was still up.
you now have the monolith from 2001
This-
Space Odyssey over us.
Yeah, you got to do sharing or something, Jerry. We're just
You got the
got a big
monolith.
black.
I feel like I'm in that bed dying, looking
There we
at
go.
okay. Yeah, this is the morning of the 15th.
Okay.
So this up here is Plato.
Mhm.
And this is from a moon app I have on my computer, actually on my laptop.
Oh,
And you can put all the names in here and stuff.
Mhm.
It's a little tricky to play with. But this is the purpose of that is to show you where Plato is. Because
Wow.
a guy in Australia, Damien Peach, has capped with his 14-inch Celestron, has captured a very interesting picture of sunrise on Plato.
That's
Now, of course, in this picture, this is almost sunset. So the Terminator is going to go this way. So this would be closer to the picture you're about to see is closer to the first quarter than last
Look at
quarter.
those shadows of the rim, Jerry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's impressive.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Look at how spiky that one is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gives you a profile of the crater rim going around here. Something
You
right there.
need a low sun. Need a nice low sun to pick that off.
Yeah. So it's very dramatic. There's a couple of other flat bottom craters that do the similar type of view if you pick them at the right time.
Mhm.
And there's that Apennine Valley.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
With the crack down it. And then at the low angles like this, you can see a lot of these pressure ridges
Yeah.
from the lava when it cooled, and apparently it expanded when it cooled.
Yeah. Known as rills.
Yeah,
Mhm.
beautiful moonshot. I'm overblowing
Incredible.
up a little bit here.
Wow.
There, looks sharper, smaller. Very good work.
This picture that you have on Zoom looks very, very similar to the one that you put in your talking points. You said one was sunrise and one was sunset.
Yeah,
Well,
this-
no, the initial big view of the moon was more like sunset, and then this one down here is sunrise.
Right, but I have the picture he distributed, and I've blown it up, so I see the same image that was just presented.
Not this one,
Pardon?
not this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, yeah, that's because the shading in that moon image that they use doesn't change with the phase. They just took, in fact, if you look at you know how they do at Lick Observatory, they took a picture of first quarter moon and third quarter moon and they pasted them together so that you get the good relief kind of picture. Here it looks like all of them were taken when the sun was coming from the left, because even if you look at some of the craters off in the shaded part of the moon there, they've got their shadows on that same side. So
Yeah, what you're seeing,
I'm
the
sorry,
shadows,
sunlight coming from the right.
the shadows.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I think this picture might be the full moon and they just simply masked out half of it.
that's
Yes,
exactly
exactly.
right.
It's not
Yeah.
quite full because you can see some of those shadows, but
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, Mr. President, I was totally blown away because I misread your talking points and I thought you wrote sunrise over Pluto. And you kept-
No, Plato.
I get Did you write Plato or Pluto? I thought I kept looking back at it.
Plato.
Plato, if I did, it was a typo. Pluto's the dog, Plato's the philosopher.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Play-Doh is what kids play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, Plato, yeah.
And sometimes eat.
Okay. Now we're going to go to a couple of supernovas, which are the short little videos. This
Oh, yeah.
one, you can see a ring right there. That's a ring that is expanding out.
Wow.
And let's see if I can do the gymnastics to show the video. There might be a commercial in the video.
There's two of them. They're 12 seconds long each.
Oh, have you looked at them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're very short.
Just hit mute.
And they're in other galaxies, not ours. Well, I could call it up on my screen, but you can't call it up on ours.
I don't know. Let's see.
They just had a really interesting result where they were looking at a Hubble image of a gravitationally lensed galaxy, and it had several images that appeared,
Uh-huh.
and with delays of several days
Mhm.
between the images, depending on the path they took in the gravitational lensing. And so they were actually able to watch a supernova through several stages of its explosion.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Is it days or months, years?
Lightsabers are finally a reality.
For days and
This
days
new
and
military
weeks.
flashlight is basically a lightsaber that fits in your pocket. But
Okay, I'm working on it here.
$600 flashlight.
I didn't hear anything when I played it. I didn't hear a thing. I just saw it. Who's doing the talking there?
That was a commercial.
Oh, that's right. Damn YouTube.
If I get back to the Zoom meeting. No, damn. Let's see.
I didn't hear a thing. I just saw it. Who's doing the talking here?
That was a commercial.
Oh, that's right. Damn YouTube.
Yeah, Chuck, you remember when Omer Blaze gave a talk several years ago? He showed that differential light path
Yeah.
from, yeah, it was really neat. So you actually watching history happen.
Okay, we got a window that says Zoom.
Yeah.
Need YouTube.
Oh, geez, where is it? Oh,
Would it be easier if one of us played it and we just shared
yes,
our-
it'd be a hell of a lot easier.
How about
Go ahead.
I'll go play it and then let's do share screen here. I'm seeing your shares. Let's see. Okay. So the first one here, let's play.
Is this the link that ends in 5NE4?
And full screen, here we go.
There'll be a commercial for
It's a
flashlight.
commercial right now. Yeah. Is the screen sharing?
No,
No. Okay.
Well, trust me, it was stunning. Distant, but stunning.
Mm.
Real distant. How many do we get every 100 years? There's one we can see. Or is that in the Milky Way?
Yeah, in the Milky Way, about one every 100 years.
About 100 years.
Yeah.
But we're
Okay,
seeing
yeah.
them in other galaxies. In other galaxies, we see them all the time, I guess.
Mhm.
you
No.
should be, try sharing now.
Okay. No, it's telling me Zoom isn't letting me doing it. It's saying it's insecure.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, I tried to open the link and I got an ad.
Yeah, there's an ad for a flashlight first.
No, I got an ad that says my browser's up to date and you can use YouTube's latest features on Edge, Opera, Chrome, or Firefox.
I got an
Okay.
ad for a little mini chainsaw.
Ah,
My ad says, you want to drop all ads? Pay us a fee.
Yeah.
Well, we are stalled then, I guess. We'll just have to imagine.
Yep, I guess I'm technically ignorant here.
It's all right. We're done with the overlapping galaxies. You did have something last minute about the Leonids. Is that coming back? The next meteor shower is out of Leo?
Let's see, overlapping galaxies, sunrise.
That's this week.
Yeah. I was going to say it's always November.
So Orionids are gone.
Yes.
Yep.
They're pretty much over with.
Mhm.
Okay, is there a vacant area of the year when we don't have any meteor showers anywhere? Or is it always constantly? I love it.
Well, you have sporadics all the time, but the showers are kind of spread out.
So there's about a dozen?
Oh, there's more, but it depends how minor you want to go to call it a shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always the tail of the comet that passed us ages ago that we're going through. The Earth is swimming through.
Yeah,
And there's
or
our-
asteroid.
I was going to say, Jerry, I saw Arcturus come up this morning around 4:30. So.
So can you guys see this share now?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, okay. So
Another
this-
horrible astronomy sky
Yep.
map.
But it doesn't matter because you don't need to find it. You just need to look at the sky at this time. So
Yeah.
1 hour before sunrise on November 18.
Mhm.
Now, these come from Temple Tuttle,
Mhm.
and you can see the orbit of the particles here, and they come in different pulses apparently. And some of the meteor showers, when we go through them, they're very, very dense. There was a famous one in 1833
Mhm.
that, and this drawing shows that, but this
Yeah.
drawing was done in 1883 or something, long afterwards.
Yeah.
But they claim that people that witnessed it came to an estimate of 72,000 meteors an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it scared people. It's just like running into a gravel pile in the sky.
Yeah.
And
It was also documented by the Native Americans. It was amazing, apparently.
yeah,
Yeah.
It was like a bright waterfall at night.
yeah,
It scared, like Jerry said, it scared a lot of people.
It repeats.
Yeah.
It repeated roughly every 33 years, and in
Mhm.
65, I think it was, I was talking to a guy who was on a sailboat off of Baja in the middle of the night, 1,500 miles off Baja, totally black. He had
Wow.
no idea there was a meteor shower coming, and he thought the world was coming to an end.
Yeah.
yeah. This triggers a lot of religious people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things like this. They should learn more and believe less.
I heard another one too about a guy that was in the army in Germany. And all of a sudden they rousted everybody in the middle of the night and called him out on the parade field and had him standing out there. And he was wondering, you know, what kind of disciplinary thing it was or what had gone wrong. And then the commander just said, okay, at ease, everybody, watch the meteor shower. And they turned off all the lights.
Pretty good.
So in the top part of that picture, the top half, that parabolic curve is the track of the comet. Temple Tuttle, that was the name of the two astronomers who found it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
It's
an
an
elliptical curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, so part of an ellipse, okay, and we see that at the bottom. But
Yeah, Ron, if it were a parabola, that thing would not come back.
yeah, that's true. I know what you're talking about now, the difference. But, so part of an ellipse, and as all the dust that's left, the grains of sand out there in space that came off the comet, are they still moving like the comet, or did they stop?
Oh yeah.
No, if they stop, they fall into the sun. They have the forward motion that the comet had,
Right.
approximately.
They keep orbiting in that same elliptical orbit then.
Well, they diverge slightly. So you get like a big donut because radiation pressure and the solar wind kind of spread them out a little bit.
Do you suppose there is such a thing as a star map or a map that shows all the different radiants of the different past comets that we go through and make us meteors?
Sure.
What would that look like? A separate solar system almost, wouldn't it?
But you're looking at one right now.
Yeah.
Well, just one. I'm thinking of all of the ones that the big
Oh.
one. You know.
Oh, you mean an orbital diagram like this? That would get
Yeah.
pretty busy.
But none of them take the same path. The far end of that elliptical orbit in the bottom part of the picture, would that be in the Oort cloud?
No, it's
No.
out around Uranus.
No, that's probably
Oh,
Uranus,
Was
Ron.
Uranus, yeah.
Yeah, see, there's the Uranus is down here, and then this Uranus's orbit is around there. So this is how far it gets out there, just to Uranus's orbit. Neptune would be way out here.
Mhm.
So this shows the what is this, Mars orbiting here,
Mhm.
and then Mars orbit here. So this is the top part. Obviously, is this bottom box blown up.
Mhm.
See the same blue border.
But now the reason we have a tail on comets is that they have a lot of water, right? And asteroids don't. So this could very well be an asteroid, or did it deplete itself of all the stuff that it came off of it?
I don't think it's depleted yet.
But asteroids and comets are two different animals, or is asteroid just a,
Things are a continuum, Ron. There's asteroids that have more volatiles and there's comets that have fewer volatiles. So it's fuzzy.
volatile?
It's not a sharp transition of one or the other.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
volatiles could be water, it could be carbon monoxide, it could be carbon dioxide.
Or methane.
Yeah.
Methane, yeah, if you're English.
Yeah.
Well, would that E3, if it were superimposed on this map, be about the same, or would it be a totally different orbit?
I don't know where, haven't
You know,
memorized E3.
I don't think E3 is periodic, so it would be a parabolic orbit.
It's a one-time.
Yeah, or just very, very, very long period and they just haven't figured it out.
Yeah,
Now, Oumuamua came through from outside, didn't it? It wouldn't have made a orbit like this one.
That was a hyperbola, yeah.
The big L shape, or more or less. Wow.
yeah, kind of.
Did they have the year of this or this one, this Temple Tuttle? What did we see it?
You see it periodically, but
Oh, it comes back.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what the P means.
that's a closed
periodic.
orbit. You can find any comet you want on a website. Just go to Google and put in the name of that comet and put in the word ephemeris. And it'll show you where the comet is right now. For example, if you wanted to see Halley's Comet right now, you can put that in. And if you have an 8-meter telescope,
Yeah.
you can see, take a picture of Halley's Comet.
And the word is ephemera, E-P-H-E-M.
Ephemeris. Yeah.
Ephemeris.
Ephemerate.
Yes, IS.
Ah, yes.
Ephemeris.
What does that mean?
It means the coordinates where it is.
Yeah,
orbit.
in past and future.
So there must be comet specialists in astronomy that have incredible maps.
There are, and comets are in the same class as asteroids in the sense that we track them as part of the planetary defense, charter. And we think we track about 50% of the dangerous comets or dangerous asteroids, I think it is. So we keep finding new ones close to Earth that are smaller, of course. The big ones farther out, we have a lot of orbital information on those. It's mostly new comets that come in from outer space that are not periodic that we're most afraid of, because you see them a few months or a year before they get here. You don't have a lot of warning for that. And once you find out it's going to be a danger to us, it doesn't give us time to do much. Chuck?
No, I have a cat on my shoulder.
Oh, it must be a Cheshire cat.
Yeah, it's black, so Zoom filters her out.
Memoris comes from the Latin. It means diary.
Ah, learn something every day. Wow. But now the asteroids that occasionally they say could threaten the Earth, and that's why we sent the DART out. They're from between Mars and Jupiter, aren't they?
No,
Not necessarily.
no. Well, I mean, they may have come from there, but they're not there anymore.
Well, I know that, but that's what I said. They come from mostly the asteroid belt,
Yeah.
or maybe from the Trojan belt within Jupiter's orbit.
The ones that we're worried about are like the star of the Matrix, Neo, near Earth orbit.
Yeah. Spelled a little
Oh.
differently, I think, but yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
and we
the ones
just
that
found
come close to Earth are the ones that we pay
We
attention
found a
to.
bunch just recently that have orbits interior to ours, and they were, so they're often hidden by the sun. And so now we're trying hard to look at those, but it's hard because they never get very far from the sun from our point of view.
Now, of all the shells around the sun in the solar system, everything is on the ecliptic, including the asteroid belts, the Kuiper belt. But then when you get out to the Oort cloud, it's a huge eggshell around the whole thing, isn't it? It's above us, it's below us, it's in all directions, isn't it?
Yes. But the asteroid belt has some high inclination asteroids in it too.
Yes.
That've been perturbed. So
And
it's not quite as flat.
And the what is not the Oort cloud, but the other one, the Kuiper belt.
Kuiper belt.
They have some things that are at an angle from the ecliptic too, like Pluto, for example. So they only approximate the ecliptic.
And why do they think a comet comes in anyway? What triggers it usually?
Interactions with another body out there, or perturbations from stars that we pass near as we orbit the galaxy.
Apparently, we're going to be near a star in another star in like 1 million years, and it's going to pass within 1 light year of our sun, and that will pass through the Oort cloud, and that could cause disturbances that then result in a lot of new periodic or even non-periodic comets that come by the Earth.
Well, humanity will be long gone.
So mark it down on your calendar. It could be an exciting time.
Yeah, I'm going to get a heat wave. What the heck? A sun? What was that Steve Martin joke? I'm going to get some kind of detector. Never mind.
Well, you can get a comet umbrella that, like they used to sell for Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what next is? What the next meteor shower after Leonids is? Leonids will run what, a week, starting this week?
Roughly. The Geminids are the next ones in December.
December, yeah.
Okay, and
They're usually pretty good.
And then where does that come from? Gemini, obviously.
Yeah.
Those
are pieces of an asteroid, something that was classed as an asteroid called Phaethon.
Well, I know that astrology, which is pretty much passé now, is an adjunct of astronomy, and it goes back, of course. But things like the word house, your love life is in the house of Libra or in the house of Aries. What does the house mean? Did they just put one of those 12 zodiac signs into a house on the edge of the ecliptic?
13 zodiac signs.
That's,
Yeah.
I wonder if
Yeah.
the definition in the dictionary of house also.
Well,
includes-
what they did is they divided the ecliptic up into 12 zones, you know, even though they might not correspond to the boundaries of the constellations.
Right.
And so those that you use house instead of zone. I mean,
Okay, but my understanding in the past, gentlemen, is that Ophiuchus might be the 13th.
Yep. Chuck was born on Friday.
Astronomically, yes.
How could that be possible? All 12 spots are taken, aren't they, on the ecliptic?
Now, you're trying to mix a superstition with the scientific knowledge.
Well, we don't have those. That's called astrology. We don't embrace that, Jerry.
that whole
Right.
house thing in the 12 divisions is astrology.
Right. So Ron, in the 1930s, the International Astronomical Union divvied up the sky into 88 constellation borders. So now when, Chuck's birthday in December, the sun is actually in Ophiuchus.
But it's not on the ecliptic. Only 12 of those.
It's on the ecliptic,
It
Ron.
definitely is.
Yes.
It definitely-
That's what I
Cetus,
said, on the ecliptic, at the platter that is the solar system.
Yeah,
Ophiuchus-
Ophiuchus
no.
is on that.
Ron, the ecliptic is the apparent path of the sun from our point of view. Okay, so
Right.
it's the plane of the Earth-Sun orbit,
That's
not
right.
necessarily the other planets. They're off of that by a degree or two, right?
Well, they're
And so
mostly,
now, Ron, it just turns out that since they divvied up the sky so into 88 sections now, it turns out, I think, that the sun is in Ophiuchus longer than it might even be in Scorpius, Chuck.
Yes, quite a bit longer.
Yeah, okay.
and when does it go into Ophiuchus? What month?
December.
December. Chuck's birthday is in December.
So that's your sign. People say, what's your sign, Chuck? You say Ophiuchi.
I usually say hospital.
Yeah. And our dog Wally is Ophiuchus too, by the way, Chuck. I think he shares a birthday with you.
Yeah. And Sean Kelly.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Astronomy
Now,
director.
the global positions, the apparent positions of the constellations and the star patterns, the asterisms, they shift each year or each
Yes.
epoch. And when astrology was popular back in when it had more credence, 2,000 years ago,
Or even 6,000.
6,000, the borders of the constellation, the borders of the houses corresponded more closely to stellar reality. It has slipped, but the designations haven't changed. So if you use the old star chart from 6,000 years ago, that's called tropical astrology. And if you shift it to the current epoch, that's called sidereal astrology.
Mhm.
And the
Right.
twain shall never meet.
Where do you suppose the astrologers who make the horoscopes, and the big part of our populace, as you well know, is hooked on those every day in the papers around the world, where do they get those little items that say
They
today?
just make it up.
They just make it up.
It's just made up, Ron. It's
Yeah.
total
Yeah.
horse
There
baloney.
isn't
Fairy
some-
tales.
There isn't some master volume, some Bible of astrologers that tells you what's going to happen on those sign
Nope.
months.
I don't think so. No.
No, there's guidelines that they have that, different planets are good or bad influences and a bunch of baloney like that. But it's basically just fantasy.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
Carl Sagan said, Chuck, I think the obstetrician had more to do with moving me around than did Mars.
Yeah.
Well, is there a sign, a picture, a goat or an animal for Ophiuchus?
No, he's a serpent
Ophiuchus,
bearer.
the serpent bearer.
Mhm.
It's a snake?
No, it's
It just-
Asclepius, the Greek physician, holding a snake. The
Right,
snake constellation is serpent's caput for the head and serpent's cauda for the tail.
right. And on Saturday night, Chuck was wondering what that star out there was in the western sky. We figured out it was Rossall Hague, the head of the bearer, the head of the serpent bearer.
And so it's in Ophiuchus.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, I, for some reason, I don't remember what it's shaped like in the planetarium show. So I'm going to be looking for the night of Friday, December 2nd. What?
Yeah, I always
Well,
thought.
that's when the sun is in Ophiuchus, Ron, so you
Right.
won't see it.
Right. Right now, it lies above where the sun goes down. Okay.
Well, Chuck, your birthday, you don't have to give us the date or anything, but does it have Does it happen to fall on one of our board meetings so we can get munchies and goodies and sweets?
You're out of luck.
Because we got it Saturday night, didn't we?
Yeah.
So Pat, your wife.
Those
Okay,
donuts didn't last long.
I'm going to end the meeting because my dog is nosing around under the computer table.
Okay. And
It's 12 o'clock.
All right, you're going to hear from
All
me.
right.
We'll be in touch and we'll do this again next week. And thank you all for joining us, folks.
Okay.